everyone, welcome to the Crafty Pixie channel where we do sewing projects and subscription boxes. I am Bee. Whether you are new or old to this channel, thank you so much for stopping by. It is wonderful to have you. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone is good. I see you and you're awesome. The support is beyond what I could imagine, so thank you very much on that aspect. In today's video, we've got the October Sewers Club box. I am so excited. I cannot wait to open this. I love October, and I'm really excited to see what the package is, or what the project, I should say, is this month. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you know when I upload every week. Leave a comment in the comment section, especially if you are a new subscriber. I would love to hear from you, and give the video a thumbs up. Okay, so enough talking. Let's break this open and see what we have. All right. Ooh, we've got 2 projects. Oh no, wait. 2 projects? 2 projects. We have 2 projects again. Okay, so we have this project, or we have this project. So you can do either one. Okay, that's a really cute panel. Ooh. Okay, so one is, it looks like a placemat and coasters, and then the other one is the tote bag. All right, so let's see what else we got. Okay. All right, so we have our Gutermann thread, of course, and let me see if this has a color. And this color is tangerine. So yeah, we've got the 2 projects, so you can do, I think we can do both. I don't know, let's see. Okay, so we've got, of course, it's a full panel. So we actually have 2, oh okay, look. So we've got the 2 panels, and then we've got the little coaster fabric right there. Those are cute. Okay, so there's that. And then we've got just black fabric for either the backs or the interior of the tote. I think we can actually do both. Well, maybe not. Hold on. I don't know if we can do both. We'll find out. So there is the black fabric. It's just black fabric. I'm not even attempting to fold it. I'm just opening it. And then we've got this fabric right here. That's cute. Look at the pumpkins. Oh, I love that. Okay. That's cute. And again, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm sorry. I'm really excited about this one. This is super cool. And then of course you've got your fusible fleece. Is it yeah, fusible fleece. And that's it for the bag. So let me see. This is the Black Cat Capers collection from Northcott's. This is super cute. Yeah, so you can either do the placemat and coasters, or you can do the tote bag. So I'm thinking the coasters aren't going to be too difficult, but I kind of want to make this tote bag. Looks like a really big bag. Finishes approximately 13.5 inches by 19 inches. So that's a good size. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess we'll figure that out. So, without any further ado, let's get to materials and escape for a while. For this project, we're going to be doing the placemat and coasters. For this, I am only going to do one placemat and one coaster. There is fabric enough to do 2 of each, but I'm only going to be doing one for this video. Pay very, very close attention when you cut out the binding measurements for the pattern. You want to do the length of the fabric, so how long the fabric is, whether you got the black or the orange. Okay, so you're going to need the corresponding fabric pieces with your instructions. Now, I chose the pretty much portrait, is fused with fusible fleece, and then the top of the coaster is fused with fusible fleece. The backs are left undone. The binding is left undone. If you want to see the tote instructions, I'll be more than happy to do a video for that. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. I will be using my own fabric for it though, not this, because these are going for placemats and coasters. You will need scissors, a marking tool, clips or pins. Definitely going to want to have a seam ripper on hand. If you have a turning tool, that will probably come in handy with the coasters. You're going to want the coordinating thread, an iron, a sewing machine, a little bit of patience, and a little bit of time. So let's get started. First, we're going to do the coasters. And what you can actually do with this project is you can do the whole first step for the placemat and the coaster at once, and then, you know, keep doing them together. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take your top piece, lay that right side up, and this is the piece that has the fusible fleece on it, and then you're going to lay your back piece right side down, right on top. What I did notice is the picture, so the front of the coaster is shaped a little bit differently than what the measurements say, so just pay close attention to that as well. So we're going to line that up as best we can. Okay, and then we're going to clip around the edges like so, and you're going to want to leave an opening at the bottom of about 2 inches so that we can turn everything right side out. When you take this to the sewing machine, make sure you backstitch really well at the beginning and the end of these stitches, because you're going to be pulling fusible fleece out of a very small hole. Okay, and for everything, the seam allowance is 1/4 inch. So you're going to take this to the sewing machine, start here, and do 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. Make sure you backstitch really well at the beginning and at the end. Okay, and then
for your placemat, grab your panel that has the fusible fleece on it and lay that right side down. And then you're going to lay the backing right side up so that you have wrong sides together. Just like so. Smooth it out as best you can. If it's a little bit off, it's okay, because you're going to be sandwiching these together, so essentially like quilting them together. Alright, so I'm going to just clip around the edge. You definitely want to make sure that your edges are even or overflowing just a little bit. Do not make the back shorter than the front, or your next step is going to be all wrong. Alright, so there's that. So I'm just going to clip on the 4 sides, and then you're going to take this over to the sewing machine and you're going to quilt whatever design you want on it. For the other placemat, I went ahead and made an X from corner to corner. So a line from corner to corner, and I'll do that right now for you. Now the chalk mark that I'm going to be making, when you do this, you want to make it with something that is going to erase. So an air erasing marker, tailor's chalk, whatever you got. Do not do it with heat erasing, because that doesn't always come out as well as you would like. Okay, so X, just like so. Now this, like I said, is just a guide. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. You can make it perfect at the sewing machine. You just want a rough to keep you on track, okay? And then what I did, actually, I'll unclip this at the moment, is I made 3 squares on the panel. So I came in 1 inch from all sides. Make sure you want to line this up, because you want to make sure that this is aligned for when you're quilting. Make your line again with something that is going to erase, either tailor's chalk or air erasing. There you go. Okay. And you're going to mark from when you do the center or the horizontal, you're going to mark from the line that you made. And then from that line, you're going to come in 1 inch. Make sure you're lined up. your mark. This is kind of what I did for the hot pad. Oops. Just like that, and then you're going to make another one an inch away from the other line. Just like that. This is my version of quilting. You know, if you have a design that you can do, you know, you're fluent at quilting, by all means, do whatever design you want. This is great for creativity. And the directions do say to do the quilting in the design of your choice. Just like that. Alright, and then take this over to the sewing machine, and you're going to top stitch all of those markings that you did, or however you are quilting. I'm just going to place some clips into place so the back doesn't move too much, because the back is cut to the same measurement, or roughly the same measurement as your fashion panel. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the sewing machine, do this and the coaster, and I will be right back. Alright, with that done, this is what you're looking at. So here's the quilted placemat, and then here is the coaster, and I went ahead and cut off the edges of the coaster just to make the turn through a little bit easier, and then you just pull everything through the hole as usual, like so. Be very, very careful. You don't want to break the fabric or the stitches. Just slowly feed it through. Like so. Square those corners really good. If you can poke them out with your fingers, great. If you need your turning tool to do so, use the turning tool. Just make sure that you don't poke through the fabric itself. It's a little funny, I'm sorry, we're testing out a new camera and camera rig. Just trying to make it easy for myself and everything. So there's that. I'm gonna grab my turning tool. You can use a chopstick, you can use a turning tool like this, whatever you have. Just make sure you don't poke through the fabric. You want to make this as square as possible. Just like that. Now you're going to give it a good press, and before you press it, of course, you're going to turn this in and then press it so it stays in place, and then you're going to come through and you are going to top stitch. I'm just going to clip it, hold on, at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around the exterior, all the way around. Now you want to make sure that the backing stays with the back and the front stays with the front. Alright, you're going to use a 3mm stitch length. All right, and then with your binding, now I'm going to show you what I did, because I used almost the entire piece of fabric that they gave us for this and messed it up horribly. So I'm going to show you what I did to make this work. So you're going to take your one strip with the right side up, and then you're going to lay your second strip right side down, and you're going to align the top raw edge and the side raw edge, so these two sides together, and you want to make sure these are aligned. Do not shift them, okay? And then you're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and you're going to sew from this corner to this corner. Back stitch as you're doing it, so you're going to make a diagonal, okay? Alright, so I'm going to go do the top stitching and this, and I will be right back. With that done, your coasters are finished. Give it one good press to seal all the stitching. You can stick that to the side, and then what I did after I sewed the diagonal line on the fabric, I went ahead and cut the seam to 1/4 inch and then pressed it open. So now you have one long continuous strip of fabric. Now what you're going to do is, like we would do with a shoulder strap or with the key fobs or anything like that, we are going to fold it in half so that the raw long edges are meeting. You will do this, of course, at the sewing machine, or not the sewing machine, the iron. And you're going to iron that all the way across. This is a really long piece of fabric, so I'm not going to do it on camera. And then once you have that center line, you're literally going to fold both raw edges into that center line to meet and give it a good press. Now you are probably going to want to put a few clips in just so that it stays together for the next step. So I'm going to do all of the ironing for that, and I will be right back. With the binding folded and pressed, I went ahead and started wrapping it around the placemat. What I do is a little bit different than what it says in the directions. I find it easier for myself. It's really up to you, but I take the placemat and I hug the binding really tightly to the edge. You don't want it sticking out at all. You want it wrapped nice and tight and clean. When you get over here to the corner, nice and tight, fold it at a diagonal on the front and the back, making sure that we hug as tight as possible to the edge. Make it as even as possible. You want to be able, when you are sewing, to catch the front and the back of the binding. Alright, now once that's done, we're going to hug the edge real tight. If there's any bunching, you can go ahead and adjust it at the corner. That. And then just go along, making sure you hug nice and tight. Like so. Now we're getting close to where the two are meeting, so I'm gonna pull these off. Now you want to overlap this a bit, so I'm going to cut about right here, just like that. Get rid of the excess piece. We're going to hug real tight up until that point. Now we're going to fold this edge in. You can do 1/4 of an inch, you can do 1/2 of an inch, whichever you're comfortable with. You're going to fold it along. Making sure you tuck everything in together. You don't want anything sticking out. It's probably really hard to see. Okay, just like that. Then clip it. Okay, so now you have the binding running all the way around your placemat. You're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and with a 3mm stitch length, we're going to top stitch the binding onto the placemat. Now when you do this, you're going to want to get 1/8 of an inch away from the inside edge, not this edge, this edge. Okay, and when you do it, go slow, because you have to make sure that you catch the front of the binding and the back of the binding when you sew. Okay, if it's nice and tight, you should be even all the way around, but things do shift when you are sewing, so lots of clips helps. And this is where your seam ripper is going to come in handy. Once you're done sewing, you definitely want to check the back to make sure it is all even. If it is not, you can pick where you didn't connect the front to the back and re-stitch, back stitching at the beginning and at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and go do that, give this a final press, and then we will be done. With a final press, you are done. So there is the coaster and the placemat, and then the other placemat right here. If you are not good with top stitching or with binding, or attaching binding, I suggest you change the thread so that it blends in a little bit better, but it's done. There you go. Again, if you would like to see the tote bag instructions, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. So until next time, see ya!